Hello, everybody. It's just after 8 o'clock Geneva time, so we're going to make a start. I'm sure there'll be more people joining us, given this is the first session, the first time many people have connected to Go to Train. The good news is if you've made it this far, it's a lot easier to connect the next time. You don't need to re-register. You just follow the same routine that you took this time, so you can just go via the link. So very warm welcome to everybody. My name's Michael Bradfield. I'm one of the team leaders for the Ambulance Global group, so I'm going to be, with my colleagues, walking you through this ambulance exercise. And the purpose of the session this week really is just to introduce you to an outline of the program itself, the schedule for the next few weeks, what's expected of you, and we're also going to introduce a few key members of the team, and we're going to be hearing from some of you as well. So we have, I think so far, 25 people connected. And I think really this is perhaps a unique opportunity to connect pre-hospital care providers from around the world. In a moment, we'll hear from, we'll ask you all just to share where you're from. So if you haven't already done so, if I can ask you to go to the chat window and just say hello and let us know which organization you work with and where you're connecting from this evening. And I think that'll give us a bit of a flavor of just quite how international this group is. Okay, so Erin is connecting from Singapore, Fred from Norway, from the Red Cross, Hannah from Berlin, who's originally from Syria, and we're going to hear from him a little bit as well. Ali from the Pakistan Red Crescent, hello. And I remember you from the WhatsApp group, another Fred from the government service, Christoph from the German Red Cross, and Peter from the Netherlands. Fantastic. Okay, so please keep those coming. It's great to see that we've got the hang of using the chat already. And as I mentioned earlier on to those connected slightly earlier on, please make use of the chat window throughout this if you want to ask any questions. The audio is turned off at the moment, but purely just to exclude all the background noise. So we will be hearing from some of you very shortly. Okay, so welcome to the pre-course briefing. This is what we've called the fall 2017 ambulance exercise. We had another one earlier in the summer. We are aware that this is technically late summer, but nevertheless it's going to run into September. So it's the second time we've done an exercise like this year, and we have some people rejoining us who did the early one who will be supporting for the next few weeks. So although the course proper starts next week, this preparatory week really is just designed to get everybody familiar with the platform that we'll be using. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and also just to explain what's going to be required of you in the coming weeks. But essentially this exercise is aimed at pre-hospital providers from all over the world who may face security risks, which, sad to say, probably anybody who works in out-of-hospital care may face violence or threats of violence at some point. And what we're going to be able to do is to share these experiences and document them, and also interact with each other. So it's a fantastic opportunity to network with people from all over the world who do a similar job to you, hear about their working practice, and support each other in producing a case study, which we're going to talk about. So the aim for this session is to introduce ourselves. We're going to go over a checklist to see whether we're all ready for the exercise. If you've joined us for this session, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world, then well done, you're already part of the way there. We'll make sure you're up to speed with everything else. We're going to go over the schedule for the next few weeks, and also make sure that you know the key dates and the deadlines. And there are some deadlines that are immovable within this. So we're very flexible in some respects, but there are some that need to be met if you want to finish the project and get the certificate for it. We'll introduce the project to you, although we're not going to focus on it in a lot of detail, and then we'll have a chance at the end for questions. And really these questions at this stage will be focused probably around the more technical elements, which somebody other than me will likely tackle. Okay, so who we are. Well, this ambulance exercise has been supported by a number of organizations listed here, including the Community of Action, which really is looking at how we as a global community face dangers in healthcare, threats to our own security and potential violence in any setting. So it doesn't have to be in a conflict setting, but just in a normal government or NGO-run EMS service. So this is supported by the Healthcare in Danger Project, which has done an amount of work on this already, the Norwegian Red Cross and the IFRC, and the Geneva Learning Foundation has helped to put this together. So the team leaders from the Red Cross who are supporting this are shown here. So we have Panu Agnieszka, who is leading the Spanish group, and Fred, who I believe is with us this evening, although I'm not sure if he's able to speak and introduce himself or not, because he did appear on there. Okay. Fred, are you able to say hi?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Great to see that we have already a good crowd on the first course. Looking forward to it. I won't take long because this is Michael's moment now. I just wanted to encourage everyone to watch all the videos that you will have, that you will see posted. This is like really a key message from us as organizers. We find that people who do watch the videos are able to complete the tasks and stay on all the way to the end. So good luck, and I hope you enjoy it.
Great, thank you very much for that introduction. There are a lot of other people who are doing work behind the scenes as well, including those who helped found this initiative, who are shown here, and will be, you'll see names appearing across a lot of the stuff that we do. So thank you very much to them for their ongoing support. Rida Sadki, who you'll hear from later this session as well, we'll ask him to say hello and say a little bit about how the course works, who is the from the Geneva Learning Foundation and the mastermind behind this. Hannah will be supporting the global English-speaking group, but is also the Arabic team leader. And we're going to ask him just to quickly say hello as well, so if he's able to. But I don't know whether Hannah is connected on audio or not. If he's not, then we shall leave that until later on. No, I think we're good. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Michael, for the presentation. I'm Hannah Kadi. I'm a medical doctor from Syria, from Aleppo, and I recently moved to Berlin, Germany, to continue my studies. And as Michael said, I'm the Arabic speakers team leader, and I'm very excited to read and hear from all of you about your experiences, your experience in first aid ambulance services. That's really a very good place to share our experience from all over the world. I wish you a successful course and good luck. We will meet again in the upcoming weeks. Thank you.
Great, Hannah. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so the English language group, so whether you're in the red team or the blue team, will be led by Irene and myself. Irene, I'm not sure whether or not you have audio or not, so if you are able to speak, then please do so. But I know your connection is not always that good. So Irene is based in Kenya, and that's me on the right-hand side. So I'm a British paramedic, but I'm currently working with the Lebanese Red Cross in Beirut, and was involved with the last 2 ambulance exercises as well. So we'll be supporting you on the WhatsApp groups and in the scholar community as well. Christina will be leading the Spanish-speaking cohort. So for those of you who are interested in, if you have a preference for doing the exercise in Spanish, it's possible to do that just as it is for Arabic as well. So either Hannah or Christina will be able to help you. And we also have a number of volunteers that will be supporting us here. So Uzi, who unfortunately isn't with us right now, but will be joining these groups later on, who works for NDA in Tel Aviv. And Christoph and Aaron, who completed the exercise previously, will also be supporting us in the groups as well. Just for reasons of time, I won't get everybody to introduce themselves, but for sure you'll be hearing from these guys later on. You may well have spoken to them in WhatsApp already, so thank you to the three of them for their support. And the pictures you have at the bottom are just people from previous exercises who there are videos of available on via the Scholar community. So if you want to know what the previous participants have done and what they thought of the course, as Fred mentioned, there are lots of nice and short videos on there. So please go online and have a look. Thank you very much for introducing yourselves in the chat window as well, and saying where you're from. If any of you are feeling bold and brave and want to test your audio and introduce yourselves to the group and say why you're joining the ambulance course, how you heard about it, and how far you are through the onboarding process, then you're most welcome to do so. So I'm fully expecting at least somebody to volunteer. There is an option to raise your hand in here. There are a couple of people with hands raised already. I'm not sure if that was from before, but we will try and unmute them and see. So Abdul Rauf Istanbuli has a hand raised but has no audio. Oh, hello. Okay, are you able to speak to us? It seems not. Okay, so let's go down the group. So if anyone else would like to say hello and introduce themselves, feel free to raise your hands. If you have audio capability, obviously, if you don't, then and possibly not. And Maj Suleiman will try unmuting you as well and see if you can say hello. Okay, seems like we're having a little bit of problem with the audio there, but we have a couple of people on the chat. I will read out what's on the chat because in the recording of this, it's not possible to look and see what's going on there. So just to mention it. So Ali from Karachi says that he's looking forward to improving his skills, and he's finished the onboarding process. Eddie from the Tunisian Red Crescent also says he's a medical student and is saying hello to everyone. I know some people are having difficulties with the audio, so not to worry about that for now. But in the coming sessions, we'll be hearing more from you than we will be from the organisers. So this will be the last time you hear my voice for this length of time, and we want to be hearing from you. Okay, so moving on, just have a look at some numbers. We have 651 people have signed up for the course. For this particular course. Of those, we have currently 34 that have come to this initial meeting, and we had maybe 10 or so at the previous meeting today. So far, consistent with other courses, we've had a very large number registering, but unfortunately, not everyone makes it through. So well done to all of you who made it as far as this session. And from previous courses, we know if you make it this far, you have a very good chance of continuing through as well. So thank you very much for all of those who've done that. And we're delighted this year as well, and this is to Hannah's credit also, that of the 650 or so people that have signed up for the course, 430 of those are Arabic speakers and are participating in the Arabic group. So we have a huge number there and a large contingent from the Syrian Arab Red Crescent in particular. So it's fantastic to have that group represented really well. And then we have the rest are comprised of the English and Spanish-speaking group, and I'll say a little more about other languages in just a moment as well. So the aim of this session really is to make sure that all of you are ready for the weeks ahead. So we're just going to quickly look at what you need to be doing if you haven't already done so. And the key thing here is that you sign up for Scholar, and also that you are registered to the Ambulance Global 2017 community. So we're going to talk you through doing that in just a moment. So the requirements for this course, in case you want to pass it on to any of your colleagues who may be interested, is purely that you have some personal experience of a risk to yourself, threat of violence, or some security issue. As I mentioned before, you don't need to be from a conflict area or work in that kind of environment. Anyone who works in out-of-hospital care who may face these kind of issues is most welcome to participate. We have people that are extremely new first aiders all the way through to some who have 40 years or more experience of EMS. So there's a real diversity in the community, and you're all very welcome. From a technology point of view, this course is delivered online. We have these fixed interactive sessions. These discussion groups are really the only things that we do synchronously. The rest is done in your own time. And it is possible to do it even if you only have occasional internet connection. You don't need to be connected the whole time to do it. And we will talk a bit more about checking in regularly in just a moment. So you can connect and do this via smartphone. If you have access to a computer, it may be easier to navigate Scholar in particular, but it is possible to do it on other platforms as well. English is the working language for the global group. But please bear in mind when you're having discussions that for some people, and indeed for many of the participants, English isn't their first language. And even if you're a native English speaker, international English is not always exactly the same. So please be patient with everybody. We're all using it as a medium to work together. So please help each other out there. For all of the participants, we'd like you to make an active contribution and play a role in this. It's not just an attendance course. You can't just sign up and then expect a certificate at the end of it without taking part. We'll explain to you exactly what you need to do in the next slide. But most importantly, it's at no cost to you other than your time. We are aware that you're very much a busy people and a busy community, and time is very precious. So we're very grateful for you for giving it to us. And we try to design the course so you only need around half an hour or so each day to do the activities. So it's only a few hours a week. And also there's a lot of flexibility. So if you're away or working long shifts or on nights or very busy or whatever it happens to be, you can either do the work at the beginning of the week or the end of the week and then catch up. So we're very flexible in terms of the way that you access this with that in mind. All of us have full-time jobs that are involved in this, so we completely understand. Okay, so the requirements for certification then. You will be asked to undertake a project, which we will explain in great detail in the coming days and in the first week, and we'll give an overview of that now. So the initial phase will be that you draft a project. It doesn't need to be perfect or complete, but it needs to be done in outline by the end of the first week. You'll then be given a number of peer reviews. So you will be reviewing each other's project, giving each other feedback, and then in light of that feedback, we'll ask you to revise it and then submit it in the end. There will also be discussion groups taking place online, in addition to this weekly discussion group as well. So there'll be lots of opportunities to talk to other people and to interact and to ask each other questions, read about each other's draft projects, and then give each other feedback. If you successfully complete all of these and you meet the criteria, then you'll be given a certificate, which will be sent to you as a PDF in high resolution. You can print it if you want to. So here's Irene's one from the last session. So you'll be sent one of those if you're successful, and it will document your participation. So where are we now, and what do we need to be doing? So the checklist we have for you. We'd like you to make sure that you're receiving the course emails, and there are two main sources that this will come from. One will be from the Learning Foundation, so primarily from Rida. You'll be receiving emails from him, so please make sure that you check your spam folder and they're not ending up in there. Once you've signed up for Scholar, you'll be receiving lots of updates from the Scholar service, and that usually comes from the no-reply@Scholar email address, so please make sure that you look at that. And of course, in order to have that, you needed to have registered with Scholar as per the onboarding instructions. Those of you that have been in the WhatsApp group are probably sick of seeing the message about it, but we're very keen that everyone signs up, so please make sure you've done that. And once you're in Scholar, there's a further step you need to do. Registering is not enough. You need to go in, find the Ambulance 2017 community, and then join that. It's very easy to do, but it's a very essential step. You must be registered for discussion group if you're talking or you're present this evening, unless you followed Aaron's link in the WhatsApp group and you've joined as him. If that has happened, please register separately for next week, so we know who you are. And the final thing you'll need to do is to start thinking about the risks. And I noticed AD has asked for more explanation for the draft project. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll give you a little bit more information about it. But at this stage, we won't go into a huge amount of detail, but we will signpost some more information for you. So particularly if you look in the materials section, there's a section, a link called Rubric for Case Study Assignment. If you click on that, you'll have lots of detail about the case study. At this stage, we're making sure everyone's on board, and then we'll give you some more detail, but we will outline it a little bit more in just a second. So within the global community, so we're the one on the left here, it is intended for everybody. And if you join Scholar and you sign up, you'll then have to find the community. There's a link here, which I think Rida will add to the chat window for you to click on directly as well. And if you click on that and go to the Ambulance Global 2017 page, all you need to do is just click on the Join Community, and then you can find it. You can also search for it within Scholar as well. If you just type in ambulance in the search section for it, you'll be able to locate it. And you can make a request to join, and that will be authorized, and then you'll be in the community, and then you'll be able to see other people who've signed up. And thank you very much, Rida. So if you look at the link in the chat now, bookmark that, stick it in your browser, add it to your favorites, stick a link on your desktop, whatever it is that you like to do. This is key that you go to this page and then click to join the community, which obviously you need to be signed into Scholar in order to do this. So two-step process: sign up for Scholar, join the community. There's also a Spanish one as well, in much the same way. Okay, so as I mentioned, it is possible to do this not every day. If you're busy in other respects, it's quite possible to catch up if you get behind. So what we recommend is that you schedule a bit of time each day to go through the checklist, just to see what needs to be done before next week. Watch the video tutorials. They're quite short. A number of us have prepared little pieces to camera just to explain how it works. Sometimes it's much easier just to watch someone explain it than try and read about it. And there's a step-by-step guide available as well, which is much more detailed than we have here. So please have a read through that. And if, having done all of that, you're still not sure what's happening, contact the course team. So you can either email the Learning Foundation address, or you can go onto the WhatsApp group and ask a question. But please, if we indicate you to go read something somewhere, usually the answers are in there, but not always. So if you have a question we haven't covered, please ask. That's exactly what we're here for, and that's fine. So a couple of words of advice for everybody based on the feedback from the previous courses and previous exercises that we've done in this format. This is adult education, it's not school, so you are responsible for your own learning. If you decide not to check the Scholar site, and you decide not to interact, and you decide that you don't want to do the assignments that have been set, that's entirely your decision, but then you won't receive any certification. So please try and make it a habit every day if you can, just to check in and see what's going on. We will give you a clear task every day that you need to do, and then we'll summarize that at the end of the week, and we'll keep repeating it so you know exactly where you're at, what you should be doing, and we'll use this in the WhatsApp group as well. So if you do have an intermittent or unreliable internet connection and you get a bit behind, it's not a problem. Just log in when you can, and you'll be able to see what you need to catch up on. And if you're having really big internet issues, then please get in touch with us, and we'll see if we can email you any material that you need. But the easiest way is just to access it through Scholar. But if you have any problems or you fall behind, please don't just disappear. Let us know, and we'll try and help you, because we want to see as many people complete this as possible. So just let us know if you get a bit lost or a bit behind. Okay, so the way it's going to work is every day between Monday and Friday, there'll be a new activity for you to do. And it's designed so it will only take you around 30 minutes or so each day to do, or probably less. You can do this anytime. You can check at any point of the day. The only time you need to be at a specific time will be the weekly discussion group at the end. So it's very flexible, and we just ask you to check in occasionally and see where you are. Okay, so what are you going to be doing after this week? Assuming you're fully on board and you've signed up, what happens next? Well, we've already mentioned you'll be drafting, revising your main project. You're going to be reviewing other people's and you're going to be contributing your experience and your expertise to the group discussions as well. And we hope that you'll learn from other members of the community. So even within this group, we have 34 people so far that have arrived from all over the world with varying levels of expertise. So when we start doing some of the discussion groups and we start giving each other feedback, these will be fantastic resources to draw from. So this will be hopefully a key take-home point from this as well. And if you're wondering what the purpose of this is, well, what's the point of doing this project? Is it really going to change anything? If you give us permission to do so, we would like to publish your final project documenting what you faced and what was done about it. And this will act as a resource for future research as well. So you will be making a difference hopefully in the future simply by participating in this course and sharing your insight. You'll help others and you'll help your colleagues in the future as well. So much like you might sit in the mess room or sit on your ambulance station talking about an incident with your colleagues, then we want kind of a similar format here as well. We want to share our experiences with each other, suggest possible solutions, and learn from each other. Okay, we've already mentioned that English is required for this group, at least as a working language. There is a community in Spanish and Arabic as well. Ideally, we'd like to give everybody, I guess, their own group in their own native language. But if we do that, then we cut down the number of participants into lots of small groups. And the great thing about the global group is that you'll interact with people that you would never normally speak to. And as you've already seen from the chat window, we have people from Europe, Middle East, and much further afield who are going to be participating in the course. If you're interested in having this in a separate language, that is something we'll consider, but we do need sufficient interest, so that's something you can speak to us about. I know some French speakers have expressed some interest already, so going forward, it's certainly something we'll look at, and we want to be as inclusive as possible. Okay, so we're getting towards the half-hour point now, so I'm going to quickly go through the schedule and a very brief overview of the project, which, as I said before, we will be going into a lot more in a lot more detail, so I don't want to spend too much time on that now, and then we'll open it up to questions from everybody. So this is one of the most important slides we'll be looking at in this session. Okay, so once the exercise starts next week, week 1, you'll be drafting projects, so that will take place Monday to Friday, and that will run into the end of week 2, when you'll then be submitting your project for peer review. And the peer review process will take place in week 3, and then the 4th week you will finalize and rewrite your project and then submit it. Okay, so the key deadlines for you are the 15th of September, which is when you submit the project for peer review. You'll then be asked to review up to 3 projects and do that by the end of the following 22nd. And then you'll have a final deadline in the 4th week, which is the 29th of September, to submit it. If you don't meet any of these deadlines, unfortunately, you won't be able to complete the course because because of the peer review process, if you fail to submit a project or you fail to submit peer review, you're slowing down other people's ability to finish the course and we'll have to redistribute the work. Obviously, we don't want this to happen and we'll do everything we can to support you, but please don't leave it to the night before and then end up missing the deadline. Because it's really bad that we'll lose you from the exercise, but also it's not fair on the other participants as well, because it puts greater pressure on them to do more reviews. So if you can, please try and plan ahead as much as possible, but you do need to stick to these deadlines. So we'll emphasize that again, and we'll give you these deadlines again as well, and we'll make it very clear when they are, but please bear that in mind. So weeks 1 to 4 are as described following the orientation this week. These discussion groups will take place every Wednesday. Spanish groups are on a Tuesday, but that's not relevant to this group. And then the commencement event, which will be once everyone has submitted their final piece, we will ask a number of you to present your work. And from previous experience, nobody wants to talk in the first week. By the 4th week, we've got people fighting to talk about the issues that are there, and sometimes the discussions extend well beyond the program time as well. So the commencement event last time, we had some fantastic presentations from people all over the world sharing their experiences, and we had some excellent discussions. So it's the culmination of all your work, really. So we'll look forward to that after the exercise has concluded. The times for the red team and the blue team will be the same each week. So if you can make this time every week for the next few weeks, that's great. If you can't for any reason, you've got two options. One will be to listen to the recording again, as it will be made available, as Rida has mentioned in the chat. So if for some reason you can't attend it, please go and view the recording afterwards and then post a comment after it so that we know that you've read it and you've reflected on it. Alternatively, you can switch teams. We've used red and blue team in a very loose sense, really, just to help with the coordination, but they're not really separate teams as such. They're simply the group that assembles at a given time. So if you can make a morning session one week and an evening session the next, that's absolutely fine. The sessions are the same. We just have different people participating. And I know as pre-hospital workers, many of us don't have the same schedule week in, week out, and we understand that. And sometimes you might plan to go and not be able to. And we always have somebody who gets an emergency call partway through and has to leave. So that's absolutely fine as well. Make sure you hang up and go and help someone. Don't delay. So, but please try and join us on the Wednesday each week if you can, and then catch up online if you can't. I promised you I'd remind you of the deadlines. So here's your first reminder already. These are the 3 deadlines. So please make a note of these dates: the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th. And for those of you who are used to doing things last minute and you want to know when on the day, it's the end of that day. So we're being as generous as we can. These are Fridays, all of them, and it's midnight Geneva time. Okay, so it's the end of that day. I guess technically 23:59 rather than midnight. For those of you who are going to point out, that's technically the next day. So it's the end of Friday. It's Friday night, 23:59. That's when we need to submit it by, please. Okay, so I know that you'll have loads of questions about the project, and I could spend a whole hour talking about it, but I'm not going to. Just in a couple of minutes then, this is what the project's going to look like. There's a detailed rubric available to download the materials, as I mentioned. Please download that, read it again, file it away, read it again, and then keep reading it, because there's a lot of information in there, and it's quite self-explanatory once you've gone through it. So what we'd like you to do when you log into Scholar is to update your profile. So you can add a picture or an avatar, whatever you want to put in there. You can put a brief description, and if you want to detail your experience, your educational background, any links, interests, then you can do that there. And this is really helpful to other members when they see you posting. They can see who you are, and it may be that they're interested to chat to you and you to chat to other people, and it's a great way of seeing all different members of the community and where they come from, and it's a good networking opportunity as well. What we would ask, though, is that you don't post anything on the discussion groups or in WhatsApp that isn't relevant to this particular group. We've all signed up here because we're interested in this initiative. We're not necessarily interested in job postings or anything else. I know you think it might be of interest to the community, but we don't want people getting spam or unwelcome content, otherwise they're going to just very quickly leave. So please resist the temptation to do that, and just only post anything that's directly relevant to this course and what's going on. Otherwise, we'll get very clogged up because there's a very large number of people taking part. Once you've joined the Scholar community, you can post updates on here, and you can respond to other people's postings as well. So we'll be using this section quite a bit. So I'd encourage you to go in there and see what's happening already and have a bit of a play. The creator section is essentially like a word processor. So if you're used to using Microsoft Word or something similar, it's like a basic version of that. But also it allows reviewing. And when we want to create our project, you will be sent a work request. So please don't play around in here until we're actually ready to start. You'll be sent a request to work on. If you go in and create your own, it creates difficulty. So basically, you'll be told when to go in there and start on your project next week, and you'll be sent an email saying, here's your project, and then you can click in and start working on it. And we'll also use this for reviewing and feedback. It's reasonably intuitive, but some things are a bit hidden. So we are going to walk you through how to do this in great detail, very slowly, using videos and screenshots and all kinds of explanations. So if you look at it now and think, oh my goodness, I can't work out how any of this works, please don't worry. We'll give you very exact instructions how to use it. And there were a number of people in previous courses who freaked out when they first started using Scholar and said, this is too complicated. And by the end of the course, their feedback was, yeah, I've done what I was worried about. It was very simple. So fear not. We've got lots of very tech-savvy people other than me who will be able to help you. Okay, social media. If you are on Facebook or Twitter, we have presence on both of those as well. So please join our Facebook group if you want to. If you're not on either of these, you will not miss out on anything by not being a member. We're using this really to raise awareness and encourage participation, but participation in the course doesn't require you to be on either. But we'd love it if you want to send a tweet about what you're doing and tag us in that, or go onto Facebook and post and join the community as well and share, then that's great, because we really want to raise awareness and encourage people to join future initiatives, because this will be happening again, hopefully on an ongoing basis. Okay, so your course project will be in 3 parts. We will walk you through each of these parts step by step in the coming days, and especially next week, we'll go through each section and give you lots of detail about what to do. We'll give you examples of what we've done in the past. I'll talk you through what I did when I did mine. We'll give you some samples to look at. So you will, any questions you have now, we will absolutely answer for you, but I'm not going to cover them tonight, otherwise this will go on for forever. But just to give you a very, very quick overview, your course project for this exercise will be your story about an incident that you've been involved with. So if you imagine someone's visiting your ambulance station or your organization, they've come from another country, and you're talking about the risk of violence, and you're recalling an incident that happened to you, imagine what you would say to them. So in order to do this, we need to know a bit about you and where you work. It's very easy when you work somewhere to forget that you've acquired a lot of very specific knowledge that someone from outside won't have. So we need to know a little bit about you and your situation as background. We'll need to know the incident, you know, what happened and why did it happen and where did it happen, which will follow into the analysis as well, and we'll ask you to look at mitigating risks and what lessons were learned. We'll break this down into a lot more detail later on. Okay then, so as I said, we have run over the half hour slightly, but I'm going to just quickly leave this slide up now with your next steps on there. And I'm going to hand over to Reda just to talk a little bit more about the project, and also to invite you to ask any questions that you have as well. Okay, so I know Reda's connecting from a little way away, so I'm not sure if he's hooked up to the audio just yet.
I'm right here, but I'm not sure what quality audio you are receiving from me at this point. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you fine. If anyone can't, please indicate in the chat. But Hannah says that you're clear from where he is as well. So yes, please go ahead.
Okay, great. All right, so thank you, thank you, Michael. Let me grab presenter privilege, and let me do this. Show my screen. Are you now able to see my screen? It'll probably take a few minutes to, or a few seconds to actually show up. Are you able to see my screen now? Okay. Okay, thanks, Christophe and Imad and Frederick. All right, so let's start at the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna make the chat window small, which is good. Okay, and first, are there any outstanding questions, or any of you having a specific problem with, you know, with either GoToTraining or the WhatsApp group, or with Scholar figuring out what to do, where to go, and all that? That's what I'm gonna try to show you. Let me just stop this from running, and I want to run you through, okay, if there are no sort of immediate questions, I want to run you through some of the basic pitfalls that we see recur, you know, for everyone who, as they start to use Scholars. So first of all, here's the first one, is when you signed up, you created a username that could be anything. and you picked an email, maybe you use more than one email. So the first reason why people have trouble getting into Scholar is because they forget what username they created, or they get confused about which email address, if you have more than one, they actually use between their work email and the personal email, or between their 15 different personal emails on the different services. So that's the first thing, is to actually recall, yes, this information. If you need to write it down somewhere, write it down, but make sure you can recall it, otherwise you're going to get stuck. Okay, the second pitfall is when you log in, what you're seeing here, you'll see your name and hopefully your picture. If you want to add your picture, you click on a little yellow pencil that you see here, and then you'll be able to upload an image. If you haven't done that yet, do so. It shows us that you're actually a human being, and puts a face to the profile. And let me know. You should be able to see my profile page now with a little spotlight hovering over where I point my mouse. Yeah. Okay, so the second pitfall is that people think this is it. What you're looking at here, you can see there's a lot happening here. So actually, you're not in the course yet, okay? When you click on community, what you're seeing is your personal profile. And what you want to do is actually go to the community here, and you should only have one or two. You want to make sure that you're going to the September 2017 community, because we've already run the course in June, an exercise in June, so you don't want to go to that one, and click on Ambulance Global September 2017. Now that you see this icon, and that over here you can see, well, it says SEP, but that's September 2017. Now you're in the right place if you're an English speaker, actually English or Arabic or German or Hebrew. This is what we call the global community, where English is the working language. Now I'll show you one more trick where going to your profile page can be useful. Next week you're going to be posting your first update, and if, depending on the level of participation, there will be a lot of updates appearing in the community, and at some point you may want to go back to your update. So how do you find something that you posted if there's a whole if there are dozens of updates appearing in the course community? So here, actually, when you're looking at your profile, here in the right-hand column, you can see you have something called your activity. Okay, and this actually shows you everything that you have done in all of the communities that you belong to. So in my case, you can see I'm posting content for other courses, but this is where you will find anything that you've posted in the ambulance course if you're looking for something that you posted in the past. All right. So now let's go back to the September community. And here you can see, if you've been confronted with this, you can see there's a whole host. Anytime anybody does something, it appears in the community. So we still have a lot of people joining during orientation week. We have people starring updates. And so this is pitfall number 3. How do you find what you actually need to do in the exercise with all this happening? Where is the information that is coming from the course team? So I gave you the magic link. I'm going to show you the steps to create the magic link. You can just bookmark the link I gave you and forget about it, or you can you can follow these steps. Now, you might think what you want to do is you want to show only the updates from the course team. So you do that there are 3 steps. Step 1 is to click on Updates in this little flyout menu that appears when you hover your mouse over the ambulance. Yours will be blue. It's yellow if you're an administrator, but that doesn't matter. So now you see that you can add an update here, and I'll show you that. That's the next one of the next things I want to show you. But here you see there's also a filter updates item. Okay, so and then here you see that there are some options here. You can show all activity or just start updates, and you can show only the updates from the admins. This is actually the one you want. And when you do this, you can see that so far this week there have been 2 updates posted. The third one for day 3 is going to be the recordings of our discussion groups, the red team and the blue team, along with the catch-up task for people who, unlike you, are not attending the session. They will have an extra task to do, and we do find that people who attend the discussion groups and make, and do the work tend to finish. People who do not attend tend to miss out on a lot of important information, and do not feel as connected to to what is happening in the exercise, and find it more difficult to finish. All right, so what you can do once you've gone through, you can go through these 3 steps, or you can just bookmark it. If you don't know how to create a bookmark in your browser, just Google, create a bookmark, do a Google search, and you will find ways to do that. In my case, it's just go to the bookmarks menu and add bookmark is how I do it on the Mac. Most browsers on the Safari browser, most browsers work pretty much the same. All right, so those are 3 of the pitfalls. Now, going to show you some hidden gems. So one of them is that right now you see there's something called shares, where you can share a file or a link. So right now we haven't begun to upload resources there, but we'll be uploading the rubric. We'll be uploading some background documents that you should find, we hope, useful as you begin to draft your project. And so that shares is going to be important. First, you will see shares from the course team, but then you will also be invited to share your own resources. We recognize everyone in this course has experience in pre-hospital emergency care. Everyone in this course can contribute something, is working in an organization that is confronted by security challenges, the risk of violence, the reality of violence. So we're interested in receiving your contributions, and we'll be asking for that more explicitly later in the course. And I want to emphasize, as I introduce the Creator project, that really we're talking about very dramatic, potentially very dangerous events, incidents, and that's what you're going to get to work on in the course, rather than just experiencing such incidents and sort of moving on because the next day comes and the next emergency and the next call comes. In this course, you're going to be able to take time out to actually think about what happened to you, what it means for you, for your team, for your organization, for your patients, and do something about it. This is what we hope the point is of being connected to this global community. So next, as soon as week 1 kicks off, you'll be moving into Creator, and into that the second space. Your community is very open. You'll be posting an update in which you summarize, you tell us about an incident of violence or the risk of violence that you were confronted with, and then in Creator, you'll be fleshing that out. You'll be telling us about yourself, telling us more about the details of the incident, and most important, and you'll hear Fred CM go on about this very, and be very insistent about it. Terrible things happen to people all over the world, everywhere, every day. What matters is actually what you do with what happens to you, and that's what you'll get to do in this project, is analyze what happened to you, what it means, and what you can do about it. So that's really, and you'll be doing this with people, some of whom are working in context of war, open, violent conflict. Others are working in context of peace. But one of the assumptions that you'll find challenged, is that some people, basically, consistently in previous exercises, people, whatever their context, realize that they are all being confronted by the growing risk of violence, growing number of threats on a personal level, and that is what we're also trying to demonstrate, or the Healthcare in Danger Project is trying to demonstrate, that this also happens at the organizational and collective level. So let me show you Creator, and here, this is where you'll be working. So I realized that for this group, chances are that developing or writing reports may not be your favorite activity. And so I would like to encourage you to think of this case study of an incident of violence as being like what you may do when you sit down with a colleague that you trust and you tell him about or her about something that happened to you. And you discuss it and you share that experience and try to make sense of it and try to figure out what it means. That's basically what you're going to want to do in your creator project. And of course, you'll do it in writing, but then other people from other contexts with other experiences will be looking at your work and giving you feedback. So as Michael said, it's very much like a word processor. I'm looking for a project from a previous course, but what will happen, and we'll go into this in next week's discussion group in the technical support session, which is what I'm doing now. You'll receive a notification and you'll receive a set of tutorials to show you how to get started in Creator. So that's I think that about covers it for this week's session. We are in orientation. We're just gearing up to actually kick off. Get ready, because on Monday you will have both an update to prepare, and that it might actually be more relevant for me to show you how to post that update. In the update, you'll have to just briefly summarize just a paragraph about an incident of violence that happened to you. So you'll be going to updates here. The same first step as the step I showed you to see just the updates from the course team, but then you'll be clicking into title here, and be summarizing in the title. So yes, armed attack, yes, with the country. This may not be a likely event in Switzerland, but let's say this was the event I wanted to describe, and then in here actually describing the incident that happened to you. And you have some formatting tools. You can add pictures. We definitely encourage you to add links and pictures. You can even embed videos from YouTube, whatever will help illustrate the incident that you're describing. But again, the idea of an update is like a short blog post. It's a little bit longer than a Twitter message, which is 140 characters, so it is a paragraph, but we want you to just summarize something that happened to you. And then maybe that something is what you'll actually develop your project into, and we'll be looking at each other's incidents and learning from that in week one. Parallel to that, we'll also be working in Creator, so we'll be doing week one is going to be pretty intense, in some ways more intense than orientation. So do get ready and make sure that in your calendar you have time set aside for this course. As Michael very rightly said, this is not an exercise in which you just show up and you get a certificate. The bottom line is you're going to have to put in some sweat, hopefully no tears, but certainly some effort. And be effort both in terms of making time for this and thinking about thinking through what something that's happened to you actually means for yourself, for your team, your organization. So to go back to the update, once you've filled in, you described the incident, then you'll be clicking on Add Update, and then everyone else in the course will be able to see it. So right now, only the course team is able to post updates. On Monday, as soon as we publish that update, everyone in the course will be able to publish their own updates and share them with the other participants, and we'll begin really the learning process and the thinking process in this course. So that's it. I hope that the connection has been at least somewhat reliable, and thank you very much for your attention and patience, because I see that almost everyone has stayed on significantly longer than what we announced, which was for the 30-minute session. What we've done and what I hope we'll do in the coming weeks is open up the session 30 minutes before. You're welcome to come in and just chat, just as if you were meeting outside a training room and you just wanted to freely discuss how are you doing, get to know each other. That's what that 30 minutes are. You can also check your technical connection, that your connection is working and so on. And then I'll be coming in after Michael and Irene your English language team leaders to do this kind of technical support really hands-on. Everything that I've shown you is actually in the video tutorials, but we know that it's easier to listen to someone who's actually online, a live human being, than it is to watch a tutorial. I would encourage you to do both if you can. Again, we find that people, basically it's night and day between the people who take the 2 minutes or 3 minutes to view a video tutorial and those who do not. And people who succeed in this exercise tend to be the ones who actually take the 2 minutes or 3 minutes to watch the video tutorial. So I'd like to end with that, and hopefully you'll take that as a message of encouragement. Whether you or not, you are the kind of person who reads the instruction manual before you turn on your VCR, for those of us who are old enough to remember what a VCR actually is. Thank you very much, and thank you, Michael, and Irene, who I believe has experienced some connection issues. Look forward to supporting the team leaders and the participants in the course, and wishing you well for the rest of this week.
Thank you very much, René. And I'll just open the microphone up to everybody now. So just to say goodbye to all. If you're, if we can try and unmute everybody now. If you are connected on audio and want to say goodbye, then please do so, and we look forward to speaking to you and talking to you in the community in the coming weeks.
Good. Thanks. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.